and welcome to the AP Research Exhibition 2024. I am Dr. Pimpayang Yoon, and today I will walk you through the exhibition. Follow me. AP Research is the second course of the AP Capstone program, a diploma program that is built on the foundation of two courses, AP Seminar and AP Research. Through this course, students get to develop their research skills, such as investigating real-world problems, asking research questions, data collection, data analysis, and drawing conclusions based on their findings. This is very similar to what they'll do when they go to university. As I always say, this is basically a thesis done in 1 year. Today we have 10 brilliant researchers showcasing the work that they have done for the entire year. We have a wide range of research topics and research methods. Our topics range from healthcare, technology, and social issues. And students then investigated this topic through various research methods such as experiment, survey, interview, and content analysis. Now let's go and talk to the researchers to find out more about their studies. So, Shato, tell us about your study.
Okay, so my name is Shadow Shade Barson, and my topic is AI's impact towards high school students' academic honesty in Bangkok residence. And basically, my topic explores to discover the high school students that are in Bangkok, and we are trying to find out how they use AI and how they explore, how they choose to use it. And I want to find out what kind of tools and how do we define the usage of AI is, how do they use it to cheat. And overall, I'm just looking forward to see my result. It is a mixed method result, and looking forward to see the end of my research.
How many survey responses you got so far?
I just published it today and I've got roughly 32 responses.
Very good. I hope you get more and more. Thank you, Shato. So, Maini, tell us about your study.
Okay, so my study is about how parental values affect a child's perception of happiness.
Okay.
So basically, like what parents value and how that affects what makes a child happy.
Very good. So, what are your findings so far?
So far, I have an interview. I have 2 interviews that I've done, and I've also administered surveys to the secondary school. So far, I found that there's a lot more mental issues within our population than I originally thought.
Right.
And a lot of people do value their parents' opinions, but I think, especially in our culture, there's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Very interesting, Maini. Thank you. So, Sasha, tell us about your study, please.
Okay, so I'm doing a study. It's about the effects of certain aspects of cultural identity in Filipino students who have lived abroad for a long period of time.
Right. Okay, very good. What are your findings so far?
So I did have a hypothesis that Filipino students living in Thailand would face more challenges, and so far I found that to be true. However, they were able to overcome them because over time they adapted to their environment, the people, and the culture around them. Yeah.
Very good. So that's Sasha's research. Thank you. Nervous? Nervous?
No.
Did you go to Bruno Mars?
No.
I'm sorry. Okay, Martina, tell us about your study, please.
Okay, so my study is about the impacts of sleep quality on attention span in high school students. And the purpose of this study is to investigate the impacts of how one's sleep quality, because the attention span connects to academic performance. And that's why it's significant, because it's high school students and we all somehow struggle with sleep at one point in our life. So that's why I'm doing this study. It's a quantitative experimental study. So the participants, which are grade 9 students, they did an experiment, and then after that they did a survey, and then from that I got the data collecting what I found.
So what are your findings?
I found that, I had 4 sleep categories based on sleep hours, and for the students who were in the sleep group with the most sleep hours, they did better on the attention span, so they had a higher score.
Right.
And then there's a trend going down from that.
Okay.
But there's an exception for the least sleep hour group, which is the 3 to 4 hour sleep hour group.
Right.
The student in that sleep hour group, which is only 1 student in that group, surprisingly did well on the test.
Interesting.
So that kind of disrupted the trend a bit. But then other than that, there is like a general trend.
Look forward to your conclusions, Martina. Thank you. So what are your findings, Toby?
So what I did was that I sent out a survey to high schoolers in KPIS International School,
Right.
and I found out that more people eat home-cooked foods
Okay, that's good.
than any other type of foods.
Okay, what about awareness?
And the awareness of the home-cooked foods are around 50%. It's more so like in between, in the middle of everything. And with convenience store foods, that is the lowest amount of people who eat that the most, with only 4 participants ranking convenience store foods as their most eaten food.
All right, thank you, Toby. Okay, Somsa, tell us about your study.
So my study is basically analyzing amount and opportunity to exercise in relations with BMI. Whereas I would be doing a survey questionnaire that we have about different universities and their age range, and also how much do they exercise per week.
Okay, very good. So what are your findings so far?
So far, I have found a really small relationship, but it is not as significant as there can be other factors. Now, I am looking to if each university has a different amount of exercise in it. So, for example, maybe Kmood NB have more people exercising rather than Chulalongkorn University.
Okay, how did you collect your data?
Mine is a survey questionnaire, so it was easy to send out online. So I posted it on my social media. I asked advisors and researchers for help as well, especially the ones in universities. I have a couple of friends in universities, so I asked them to share it as well.
All right, thank you, Somsa. Okay, so Gigi, tell us about your study.
Okay, so my study is about evaluating the effect of PM 2.5 pollution on the daily lives of the residents of Xiangdao, Chiang Mai. So I want to see their perceptions and opinions towards this issue, as well as the health issues that comes from exposure to this problem.
Okay, very good. So what are your findings?
So right now I have my qualitative and my quantitative data. My quantitative is my survey and my qualitative is the interview.
Good.
And I'm finding that the population or the individuals that live in these communities actually have a very in-depth and amazing knowledge about what's happening around them, which is really interesting. And then I'm also finding that there's a slight correlation or a slight relationship among people being aware and their health effects to like the severity of the health effects. Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you, Gigi. Okay, so Reddish, tell us about your study, please.
Hi, I'm Ridish, and my study is about predicting stock prices through machine learning and looking at the sentiment expressed in news articles. Yeah.
Very interesting. What are your findings so far?
So the correlation between news articles and their sentiment and stock prices is actually pretty low. I trained an AI model to predict based on previous data, and the AI model outputted a 55% accuracy of whether or not it'll increase or decrease. So it's about like a 50-50 coin toss, which is pretty low. I'd expect it to be higher, but that's what we got so far, and yeah.
What was your biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge was data collection. My computer is pretty slow, and collecting that much data onto my computer,
Right.
I definitely had to, I just had to break it down and YOLO it in terms of how I would collect the data, yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you, British. Okay, so Chris, tell us about your study, please.
Okay, so my study is about employing gaming inside of mathematics class for 6th grade students. So from my study, I found that students who are in the experimental group or students who learn this topic through gaming perform much better in my post-test than students who did traditional lecture style and just studied from worksheets.
So you say we need games in classroom.
We need games in classrooms. They're getting too boring.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, Yamil, tell us about your study, please.
So my study is basically about sexism and women in Chinese film media.
Interesting.
So I basically, my whole study finds how the Chinese film media portrays women, so whether it's negatively or positively, but because of what I found, it's portrayed negatively.
Very good. So what are your findings so far?
My findings so far is a lot of Chinese film media, especially from the 90s, are very sexist. Although it gets less sexist over time, it's still quite sexist, especially compared to today's standards.
All right, very good, Jamil. Thank you. Hi, so what do you think about today's exhibition?
I think it's very good. I think the kid put the effort and then a very interesting topic actually. So it's more variety. So I mean, it's cover like food, the happiness of the kids, or the medical, going up to like stock predicting the stock market using AI, using the AI in the study. So I think there's a lot of the dynamic in terms of the spectrum, in terms of put together the topic.
Very good, thank you. So which studies do you like here and why?
Okay, so I like two things. I like the one that the happiness.
The happiness one, yes.
The one, I think that's really important for the kids to be happy, to be as happy at the school. And then they're happy with the parent, relationship with the parents. So I think that's I like that one. Second one, I like that the teenage food choice.
The food choice.
Because that's more impact the healthy and then the awareness of the kids when they eating some food because you are what you eat.
Right, definitely. What about your daughter's study here? What do you think of her?
I think it's, well, I knew it, so I tried not to bias it. But I think it's a very interesting topic to get because we have to live with the PM 2.5.
Yes, definitely.
And how do we live our life with PM 2.5 healthier? Or any mitigation we can avoid it. So I think that's important.
It is. And thank you ขอบคุณพ่อ ขอบคุณค่ะ Okay, so Miss Annie, what do you think of today's exhibition?
Oh, I think today's exhibition is so great. It's so wonderful to see so many students being very interested in research and really doing their best in order to try and, get all that data.
Thank you. And which studies do you like today and why?
I think the one that's very near and dear to my heart is the one on Filipino students. Identity. It resonates very well with me, given also my demographic. But I also was really interested in the teenagers and their food choices. I think that was an interesting study as well. And I feel a bit bad because I questioned a lot about the study, but it's very, very interesting.
Well, what about your sister's study over there?
Of course, I didn't want to come off as biased, but it might be my favorite one, I think. It's very interesting the way that she kind of formulated the question, her reasoning for it as well is very interesting. So I think it's quite good, very proud.
All right, thank you, Miss Annie. Okay, so Miss Sarah, what do you think of today's exhibition?
I thought it was really great. It was very informative. You can tell that the students put a lot of effort to gather the data, right? To be really sure in what they're presenting, right? And the way they're presenting it's in an interesting way that it's like having a conversation with a friend. So it's very impressive because I taught some of these students too. So it was interesting to see them in like a different perspective, right?
Okay, so thank you, Miss Sarah. So, Ms. Maurice, what do you think of today's exhibition?
Well, it's good to see how different students have different field of interest, and you can also see how extensive they try to identify the purpose, and it's also good to know the main reason why they did the research. So some of them stems from a book that they read. Some of them stems from an interest that they already have since middle school. So it's really good to see all of the results that they have.
Very good. So, and which research studies do you like today and why?
Well, of course, the first one is with Chris, so gamification in math classes. I feel like it's very relevant to me. Well, we integrate games in math as well, and it's good to see how well it really affects students' learning. And it's also a good indicator for me that, okay, in the future I can integrate more games in terms of my planning. So it has been a good collaboration with Chris to doing this study. Another one is the effect of PM 2.5 on the well-being and lifestyle of people. It's very relevant to me since I am a foreigner as well living in Bangkok. And PM 2.5 is something that I don't really experience in my home country. So it's good to know that these are the specific ways on how people also try to maintain a good well-being, even they experience 2.5, PM 2.5. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, Dr. Pei.
Well, thank you for coming today, Ms. Maurice. Okay, so Joe, what do you think of today's exhibition?
I'm really impressed. I think the students have all worked really hard, and their displays here and their research, it's a testament to all the work and all the passion and dedication that they've put in.
All right, and which studies do you like today and why?
Well, of the ones that I've seen so far, I really like Ritish's study on investing, stock trading, and sentiment. I think it's very ambitious, and it's interesting, and I tried to get a few tips from him.
Okay. All right, thank you, Joe.
Thanks.